What is up, everybody? Today is Tuesday, February 4th. Today I took one trade, and that one trade paid really nice. As you can see, it's this one right here. So let's get into why I ended up taking a long there and going over some other trades that I saw too. So starting out on the 4-hour chart, we see that price has been making obviously higher highs here. Price came down into this area here of this 4-hour fair value gap as well, and then it started to come right back on up. So the fact that this morning we had this 4-hour bearish gap right there, and then price closed above that at 10 o'clock made me super bullish. If we go down to the 1-hour time frame, same thing. We have the same kind of order flow here. You see there's a 1 minute or 1 hour imbalance right there that got invalidated at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then of course, price opens and then we continue to move on higher, invalidating some more smaller imbalances right there. So overall was very bullish order flow on the higher time frames. So we just needed to wait for the lower time frames to align to that or give a setup to enter on some kind of a retracement. So as you know, price opens up in the morning, we get the little manipulation lower and then just ramps on up. The overall target for me this morning for a draw on liquidity was the fill of this 4-hour imbalance right here. But unfortunately we didn't get that. We got actually the 50% mark of it. So I was able to just play the internal ranges. So price kept moving higher and higher and higher and higher. And I did not want to long off of this move up. I wanted to find some sort of a retracement first and then the move to continue on higher. Which fortunately we did get a retracement, and then I found my entry right there to capitalize on some of that move. I marked out every single imbalance that I noted, right? We took the low to the high as well to mark out the premium and discount of that price leg. As you can see, price comes down to equilibrium and just bounces right off of that very perfectly. So going down to the 1 minute time frame, let's take a look at each macro to see if there was any kind of an entry. So I wasn't bullish until 10 o'clock. Obviously here between 9:50 to 10:10, my entry model did not appear because, as you know, it is a retracement down into a higher time frame imbalance and then creating a 1 minute bearish imbalance that gets inversed, and that is my entry, which we did not get unfortunately here. Now the next macro, I was looking for something just like that, but the problem here was the fact that we were so high up in premium, and if I were to take any kind of long, I would have wanted to see this get invalidated within the macro itself to give me confidence that it was going to continue moving higher. But unfortunately, because that did not happen, I did not take any trade here. I wanted to wait patiently for the right kind of setup. Now for the New York lunch macro, I noticed that we kept trying to go higher and we're failing to do that, and we ended up getting some very strong rejection here, creating a market structure shift. So as price came back on up, I wanted to see if we were going to inverse this imbalance right here, which we did not, right? We didn't get that inversion. Almost did, but it did not close above that. And as you can see, we actually ended up getting a bearish imbalance right there too. A bullish imbalance that turned bearish right there. Let's mark that a different color so you guys can see it better. And then price comes and taps right into it. So this was an entry that I saw, but I did not take. And I didn't take it was because it was against my bias. I was looking for longs all day. I did not want to take any kind of shorts, but taking a short here down into equilibrium even was a really nice trade setup that worked out really well and played out really fast. So if you had taken that, that's amazing. The only thing I was eyeing was down to this 15-minute imbalance right here to just get a nice one to 1.86. But like I said, I didn't take it because I was not bearish biased and I didn't want to take any shorts. I knew that any kind of drop like that was going to end up becoming just a retracement. I would only become bearish biased if we got a closure below this gap right here, and then a retracement back up into premium and then continuation lower. That's mainly how I play with any kind of trades. I want to be really conservative with my approach because with more conservativeness, I end up getting a higher win rate. But regardless, if you took this, it was a pretty good setup. Time fit in. We knew that eventually we need to retrace, especially at 12 o'clock. We tend to get some kind of midday reversal or some midday retracement to happen. That usually occurs. So this would have been a good setup to take as well. But like I said, it's not my model that I like to look for. And so I didn't take that. So now once price taps down into this area here, we have a 15-minute imbalance, as you can see marked out by this green box. We also had the 10 o'clock open. If I was planning for the 4 hour to be a green candle, I would have wanted to see an open, low, high, close. But as you can see right at the open over here of that 10 o'clock candle, we got no lower wick. All right, fishy that there was no lower wick. So I wanted to see that lower wick get put in first before looking to go higher. And so here we end up getting that retracement down into discount, putting in that lower wick. And then here we have the imbalance that gets invalidated right there. Now I waited for, or actually I took this trade here. And once price started to move on up like this, I put my stop to break even and I got stopped out. And then the macro came along, and when I noticed that we invalidated this 1 minute imbalance right there, at this time within the macro, that's when I market ordered in and I put my stop below that swing low. And I actually ended up taking the whole position off right here because I was very busy today as well. At this point, I needed to get some things done. And so I couldn't sit here and watch this trade. But fortunately, it did work out in my favor, and it hit a pretty nice 3.28 risk to reward. The only problem was that it took forever to hit that, as you can see. But this was a solid trade right there, right? It fit into the narrative that we had this morning, which was long biased. We were looking for price to retrace down into a discount, or at least close to it, put in that lower wick of that 10 o'clock candle. And then during the macro session itself, we ended up getting a 1 minute IFEG. You take that, use the structure, and then target the highs right here. Now, we could have targeted a high of day, but as you know, in the past, I had a trade once that we came to the body high rather than the wick high. So the target was actually the body high at 691. And fortunately, shout out to one of my students, Rias. He actually took this trade. Very proud of him. And he held on the whole day. He was DMing me saying how I'm just going to close the charts and I'm just going to trust the stop loss. It's fitting into the analysis, and that's always my thing, that if I'm watching it, I get scared and I choke the trade, so I'm just going to trust it. And good on him, because he trusted it enough to just leave it, and it actually played out into the end of the day. Taps it and then rejects so hard off of that. It was an insane play. That was really nice to catch that move. It was a 3.28 risk to reward, but I ended up taking it right here at like a 1 to 1.7, I believe it was, somewhere around there. Let me see. Yeah, I took it around this area here, somewhere here. I don't remember exactly. It was like, it was over a 1 to 1.5. But anyway, this was a good setup right there. You could have taken a re-entry during the last hour macro. It's pretty blatantly obvious where that would be. You see that 1 minute imbalance right there that gets invalidated. You market order in as soon as that happens, put your stop below the swing low, and then target the same thing for a 1 to 2.69. So it seems like overall price has been behaving better in the PM session. The first two macros tend to be pretty volatile and kind of hard to read the last couple of weeks. Well, to me, for others, it could be very simple, but you know, you got to play your strengths. So for me, these three setups were pretty obvious. The first two, there could have been a setup there and I didn't notice it, but regardless, the fact is you need to just have one good trade a day. That's all that matters. You don't need to catch every single move. You don't need to catch the entire move. You need to find consistency. And you can find that by taking one really good trade a day. That's all it takes. So hopefully you guys ended up green today. Like I said, great PM session action here. And we will see what tomorrow brings. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.